Hello, everybody. So, I just want to tell you that what we did the last 33 days, was what we must do all the time, to speak about our ideas with passion and conviction. And I can tell you that was a great campaign because I was able to meet a lot of Canadians across the country. And I like when I'm seeing somebody who's telling me, Maxime, I never voted at the federal level, and that will be my first time, and I will vote for the People's Party. That's important for me because, yes, that's important for me because there's 40% of the population who did not vote at the last election. And imagine if we have all them voting and the participation rate is higher than 60%, we'll be in government. So it's a question of time for us to be able to speak to them. And I can tell you that we can attract non-voters, we can attract conservative voters, NDP voters, because we are telling the truth about the biggest challenges that we have in our country. And yes, mass immigration is part of that. And actually, when I was doing a lot of podcasts across the country, I can tell you that the one that I did with Tucker Carlson, we had a great discussion about the impact of mass immigration, not only in Canada, but in Europe, in the UK, France. It's happening in all Western countries. So we need to be able together to tell the truth and saying to Canadians, all that must stop. We need to have more time to integrate all these new immigrants who came to our country. We want them to be part of our society. We don't want them to live in a ghetto. And that's a big change. Polyev and Carney are not speaking about that. And actually, they are not telling the truth. For them, the enemy is Donald Trump. But it's not our enemy. Trump did a campaign about Make America Great Again. And actually, I respect that because we want to make Canada great again. And the way to negotiate with Donald Trump, it's not by imposing counter tariffs. It is hurting us, not the US. All these tariffs, it's a new tax that we are paying every day on everything that we are importing from the US. The way to solve that is to not impose us a new tax and telling Canadians that we need to do that because the sovereignty of our country is in danger. That's not true. What is happening in that election? The mainstream media, the liberals, the conservatives are telling Canadians that Donald Trump is dangerous, he wants to invade our country, and we need to stand up, we need to impose counter tariffs, and they are telling us it will hurt us, but that's okay. But they're telling us also by imposing these counter tariffs, we may have a recession. So what these leaders, Polyev, Carney, are telling us, they love us so much that they want to tax us more, and they're telling us maybe by doing that we'll create a recession. So they want us to lost our job, and that's what will happen if we don't do anything. And our goal is to fight for Canadians, and yes, we can do that. We can have a trade deal with Donald Trump if we put everything on the table, because President Trump said If you impose 25% tariffs, I will impose 25% tariffs. I will impose reciprocal tariff. So the best way to have a deal with him is to impose zero tariff, and like that, Trump will do the same. And right now, Trudeau, Carney, Polyev, they're telling us that they have great gift for us Canadians. They are telling us that they will lower our taxes. They will give us a tax break. But the question that they don't answer, and the question that we must ask, where the money will come from. If they want to give us more money in our own pockets, it will come from borrowing more money, bigger deficit, a bigger debt. By doing that, we know that it's not a real tax cut that they will give us, because we will have to pay for these deficits and debt with more taxes in the future or more inflation in the future. They are not serious about balancing the budget. They don't want to speak about that. But we know if we want to improve the economy, first, balance the budget in 1 year. Second, use all the surpluses to be able to lower taxes to you. And like that, that will be a permanent and a real tax cut. And that's our proposal. We are telling the truth to Canadians. Tax cuts when we have deficit, it's not a real one. You will pay more taxes in the future. So the People's Party is there to tell you the truth. And I'm very pleased that we have a lot of candidates here today that are ready to work for you and with you. And and I want to address the question about splitting the vote. You know, at the end of a campaign, the Conservatives are telling Canadians, don't support the People's Party because you will split the vote. First, they won't split any vote because you own your vote. You can do what you want with your vote, and if you vote for the People's Party, you are voting in line with your values, with your principles, and you are voting for a principled political party. We know, and I tweeted about that yesterday, we know that Polyev may not win that election. So I'm telling to Conservative voters, don't waste your vote with the Conservative. Anyway, you'll have Carney or you'll have a fake one. Vote with the People's Party, vote in line with your ideas. We will have more chances to change this country for better. And I can tell you that now, at the end of the campaign, people are knowing that we are here to win that election. When I'm speaking about winning, I'm speaking about making history at this election, and we may have our first candidates elected, and we will have a strong voice in Parliament Monday night. During that election, I can tell you that. And that will be the beginning of that common sense revolution. We are here today because we believe in this country. We are here today because our candidates, myself, believe in you guys. We believe that you can be part of the change, that you can make the change. And we want you to be freer. We want you to be prosperous. That's why we call that party the People's Party. We want to work with you and for you. because, because we have faith in you. We have faith that you have the ability, the dignity, and the right to make your own decisions and determine your own destiny. If we have a smaller government in Ottawa that won't tell you what to do or what not to do, a smaller government that will respect you, taxpayers, that will respect our Constitution, that will give more autonomy to every province. Look, today, because of the federal government, we have a strong strong separatist movement in Quebec, a separatist movement in Alberta. They're fed up. They don't want the federal government to tell their province what to do or not to do. And because of these liberals and conservatives, they are not telling Canadians that they will respect the Constitution, not interfere in provincial jurisdictions. When I was in Alberta last week, I told Albertan, separatist Albertan, I said, we love you, we want you to stay in this country, and you need to support the People's Party, because with you, with us in government, you won't have to be independent. You'll be happy here in Canada. But, I don't understand why in Alberta you are voting for the Conservatives when they won't do anything about the Paris Accord. They will impose more regulations and taxes to fight climate change, and we know that there's no climate emergency. They won't speak about the unjust equalization formula, and you are paying a lot to Eastern Canadians. We want to have a fair formula, and we want these equalization payments to be reduced. That would be good for Alberta, for Ontario, and for Quebec. And actually, they don't address that. They don't speak about that. So I can tell you that in Alberta, at the last election, we had 10% of the vote in that province on an average of 5% across the country. And here in Ontario, we had an average of 7%, more than the national average. So we will be able to have a lot of support at this election in Alberta and here in Ontario. But what you must do, you still have 2 days to be out there. Speak to your friends, speak to your family, help us to win that election. Help us to be able to grow the support that we have all across the country. We cannot do that alone. Our candidates cannot do that alone. We need you guys, and I believe that you need us also. So if you can be out there and speak to your family, your friends, about your ideas, about the People's Party, about the situation in our country. Start the conversation by, what do you think about all these immigrants that are coming to our country? They understand we have 65 to 70% of the population who are saying enough is enough with mass immigration. So start the conversation by speaking about that. And after that, telling them that, there's only one party, the People's Party, that is there to fight for you, and we are ready to have that moratorium on immigration, and yes, at the same time, doing the deportation, because we have illegals in our country right now who don't want to leave the country. When you come here as an international student, after that, when you have your diploma, you must go back to your country of origin. But no, they want to stay, they want to have a job, and we know that we are in a recession right now. It's very difficult for young Canadians to have a first job, and for semi-retired Canadians to be able to have a job. And now we have all that cheap labor that is coming here in our country, and they want to stay when their permit has expired. We need to change that. Our legislation must be respected. Our legislation must be respected, and that's why we want to be sure to know who they are, where they are, and putting our resources to deport them. The people who their permit has expired. And that must not be a big scandal. That, we did that in the past in Canada, but now you have Poliev and Carney who are telling these people, you can stay in Canada. You don't respect our legislation, your permit has expired, but that's okay. Stay here, we will give you the permanent residency. I don't want that. Imagine the message that we are sending to the world. You can come to Canada, not by the front door, but using another scam to come here and be temporary foreign workers or international students, and after that stay here, you'll be Canadians. We need to tell everybody, if you want to be Canadians, there's only one door. Apply in your country at our embassy. You must have an interview, and if you share our values, and if we have a job for you, you'll be able to come here and to be a Canadian like we did in the past. That's what we did in the past. But before that, we need to have that moratorium, because we know the impact of mass immigration on housing. We know the impact of mass immigration of our healthcare system. We know the impact of mass immigration in our schools. We know the impact of mass immigration of our infrastructures. So it's everywhere. But the most important impact of mass immigration is on our standard of living. When you have more people coming to our country, the GDP will grow, the economy will grow, but because of mass immigration, the population is growing faster than the growth of the economy. So what I'm telling you is the economic pie is growing, but our piece of the pie is smaller. The GDP per capita, because of mass immigration, is going down. And we know that the last 10 years, our standard of living did not increase. So we need to fight that. We need to tell the truth to Canadians about that. And that's why if you can do that the next 2 days, that will help. If you can speak to 5, 10 people that you know, that will help. And don't hesitate also. Don't hesitate to speak about your values with passion and conviction. Because what is the goal? If you have the best ideas and you keep them for yourself, nothing will happen. We need to be out there. That populist movement is growing everywhere, in France, in UK, in US, and here in Canada with the People's Party of Canada and our candidates. It is growing, and we are the future for this country. So stay strong and free. Go out, speak about your values. Don't forget to vote Monday. And I can tell you, we may make the history Monday, and if not, if we are not doing the history, if we are not having our first candidate elected, I believe that we will. But if not, I just want to let you know, this party will be there for the next election. We are building that movement. We know that we have the truth with us, and we will be there when Canadians will be ready. If they're not ready for this election, they will have to wake up and smell the coffee. Maybe not this Monday, but they will have to do that, and we will be there. Like I said, it's a revolution that we are doing, a peaceful, common sense revolution. It may not happen in that election, but it will happen a day. Because right now, this country is going in the wrong direction. We know it. But maybe it's not every Canadian who knows it. It's not everyone. But our goal is to be out there. So you can count on us. We may have our first candidate elected in Parliament Monday night, and if not, we will be there on the street and doing that battle until the next election, until we win the battle of ideas, and we will do that together. Thank you. Stay strong and free. Thank you.
How about one more time for Mad Max? The only politician